Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. And I've just remembered what I'm going to talk about, actually. This is Beansworld's podcast, episode 4. Hold on. Episode 5. There we go. And then this episode's a special one. Sorry if my voice is a bit hoarse. I've just come back, ladies and gentlemen, from a long-awaited break and so on and so forth. So I'm going to actually get this podcast out. I'm going to do each podcast now comes out on Friday. So this will be Easter Friday when you get it, Good Friday, or Bank Holiday. If you're not a Christian and you're an atheist, I'm very sorry. But anyway, today's podcast is a bit of a treat because I've got stories. I've got tales from the vault. There's a bit of a link there. But actually, all these stories that I'm going to basically tell you are more or less from some kind of a vault or somewhere along that line. And the thing that I wanted to start off with was a story about the the national computer. And I remembered something the other day about the National Inquiries the National Inquiries Directory. Now, back in the day, we had something called the National Inquiries Directory, and it was it was literally it was a database, but not in the way you think. So it was basically had everyone's name, everyone's name, address, and birthday. Now, all the information we were getting. Oh yes, I will have a look at that in a second. I've got a feeling that that's the taxi driver because I must have left something in there. Or Andre. Anyway, so basically, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because we're going to talk about Ceefax, seeing facts. And it's just something that occurred to me about the international terminal that we had. I've spoke about the national computer on my other channel, but anyway, so getting back to what I was talking about, the directory. I've got to talk about this because it kind of won't make sense. So what happened was there was an international directory. Right? There was an international directory and a national directory. Now, the international one, the local one, that was coming from the Smedley Hydro. And in fact, they had a vault of our information, which we had to reprint and all the rest of it. This was before data protection, but we had data protocols, which have been going on for a long time. The rest of it was all coming from GCHQ, which is another story. But we had a national computer, which I did a story about on my other channel, but I'll cover it on this one. Otherwise, the shit will just make absolutely fucking no sense whatsoever. So the next, basically, we had a terminal called the Ento terminal or the EX terminal that was basically send and receive. And we were using Ceefax, get this, as a web page. And when we wanted to know when the tax office, we set it up for them originally. But when the tax office shut and it was the emergency office, when someone rang in, or when you didn't ring, when somebody did like a report and they needed, it was an emergency, so we didn't have GPS, or if it was around, it was very, very expensive. We didn't have access to it. So what we did was, we had a control room that was external, I think. We had a control room which was external, and even when we had the national computer, it was still external. We were still using control rooms. We also had a control room set up in Scarborough, which was my Uncle John's office. I want to do a tale on that because my Uncle John has sadly got dementia, and I wanted to do a little thing. So if he does sadly pass away, I'll do a couple of nice little stories dedicate for him. But he had this control room, and he had a file on our office, and it was seriously, I don't know how thick it was. I don't know if he still got it. It was a 4,000-page document on our office alone, and who we had coming into our office. And when we had an emergency, which was once, I think, no, we had a few emergencies, but one of the emergencies that we did have, and we used the red phone, and the red phone would go to our control rooms. We didn't have a control room where we were. We had to have a control room outside. That was the policy back then. So if you had a police station, your control room had to be external, not like now where you can have a control room on site. But then we had a control room off-site, and we also had a control room in Scarborough because we were trying to set up a emergency inquiry office, and we were going to have a 999 department, which failed. But we used this Ceefax thing to basically say where everybody was at that given time. We even used the census office in Bootle to send us documents. And how you did that was you could request for a document to be sent. And so that was one of the things that we got. Now, another story I'm going to tell you is about a restaurant, right, disguised as a police station. I only found out this the other day, and it was great for its time, I think, when you look back at these things, because like, a restaurant disguised as a police station, right? And it was actually a police station. Nobody knew, wherever it was, it was top secret. But people went in there and they had dinner. They cooked the dinners and stuff. Or they had all their 999 calls on site. So, I'm telling these stories, people tell these stories, whatever. For the Beans World Show, episode 5, I want to give a big shout out to Auntie Mandy, who will be coming on she's going to come on an expedition with us when will it be? Frick. We're calling her Auntie Mandy anyway. But she's a big part of the Beans World family. We're not actually related, but to the channel, she's a big one in the community, folks. And you'll see her on the channel. She wants to be on the channel, so you go on the channel, and you never know, she might be on one of these podcasts, these Beans World Show episodes. So do keep your eye out. Hit the subscribe if you want to know. If you want to know more, check the community tab, because there'll be definitely plenty of posts and all the rest of it. And yeah, so when I do ask the viewers stuff, I expect to be plenty of comments. Reason being is because at the end of the day, the viewers control. Well, you control to an extent, shall we say. But anyway, it's not like the other channel, and this channel is this channel. I've had to explain to several people today, or through this whole week, literally what I do for YouTube. But this channel is very, very different. I know there's plenty of friends from this channel who are over. We do speak to them. Excuse me, not on this platform. Not everybody speaks to us on this platform. But what I'm deciding to do, excuse me, I'm going to try and do a newsletter of sorts, and it's going to go out on our WhatsApp channel, which we'll have soon. And that will be it won't be like the Facebook where it's just left abandoned. That will go out, and if you're interested, I'll do the WhatsApp thing, because I'm doing that this week. And basically, there'll be a newsletter in the WhatsApp. There'll be so many things in there. And this podcast will also be in the WhatsApp group as well. So you'll hear this podcast before it goes out on the channel. I'm not getting paid to do all of this, but it's mainly for the fans. Nobody else, mainly for the fans. So you can go and find it. And also, you can't send stuff. It's just for me to, to put information in, and so on. And so on and so forth. If you do want to talk to me over on Facebook, facebook.com/BeansWorld77. And even though the page is abandoned, I'm trying to get people talking. That's the idea. It's difficult for content. Another thing, right, is this podcast is carrying on. By the way, this podcast, we're doing this every week now, because it gives. Not only does it give content, but it also, the viewers get to know, and I get to do my thing. I've explained that in the last podcast, and it got a few likes. So, yeah. So that's why I carry on doing this stuff, really, just for the people like this podcast. If you don't like this podcast, then don't worry. There's other stuff coming on the channel. So here's the thing, people are saying, will you ever do a Q&A? Will you ever do a Q&A? Will you ever do it? I think the problem is with this channel, if I start doing a Q&A, it starts becoming one of those channels. But I have literally said that I will do, excuse me, I will do a Q&A stuff. Now, I am going to arrange on my other channel, I am going to arrange a meet for my other channel, and I know I wasn't going to do it, but I am going to do it if it works. And I'm just going to do it like a normal event, and people can come, and if they wish, they can, and if it works for the Media Mogul channel, which is my main channel, then I'll do something for Beans World 77, on the same premise. It's just, doing it in a safe environment, and I'll do the same thing for Beans World 77. Well, what I am doing, I know this is a bit kind of early, But when I go to a monster truck event, Hot Wheels monster truck event, which will probably be next year now, we're going to do a Beans World meet over there. So if there's I'll put it out on the community tab. But keep listening to these podcasts because you'll find out more info nearer the time. But I'm going to do a meet there. And when I say a meet, it's only just going to be me stood around somewhere, and people can ask me questions about the channel if they so want. Because the thing is, when you start doing Q&A, I'm going to answer some questions in a minute because I get them, and because I'm not like, I know I've had a few bits and pieces over on Facebook, and so that that's why have to kind of you've got to sort of be interactive with your audience. That's the whole point of being on this this platform. But in actual fact, you're supposed to you hold back on certain things, and with this, it's like, well, But if I do a meet next year, or I meet the odd subscribers, I know this channel's got 220 whatever subscribers it has, but if I do meet some of you guys, and you want to, I've seen a few of you at certain things, and I will speak to you guys. As I'm not one of these YouTubers that doesn't, just because I do YouTube doesn't mean I'm not going to speak to people. I'm not at that level yet. But even if I do get to 100,000 subscribers, and I'm going to say this on my other channel, if I get to 100,000 subs, with this channel, if I get to 100,000 subs, I'm going to do something really special. But anyway, I've had all kinds for, what to do, and I've got all kinds in the bag. But actually, next year, I can't do it this year because I've got something planned, but next year, I'm going to the Galloway's Driving Day. I know I said I would never do this kind of thing because I've done Driving Day and yada, yada, yada. But I think next year, I'm going to go to Driving Day next year, and that will be a Beans World 77 subscribe special. And if I'm around, which I will be, if I'm not in a car, because I'm doing it for Galloway's, whatever, but I'll just kind of meet guys, probably lunchtime or whatever, or to the end of Driving Day, or to the beginning of Driving Day. I'll do like 3 meets, one in the beginning, one at lunch, and then one during the end. And I'll just speak to people and answer questions and sign anything if people want that kind of thing. If there's people around, because I don't know if there will be. There's a few subscribers, I don't know who they are, but the reason I've not been to Driving Day, the reason why Driving Day has not been on this channel is because it's not really that kind of thing. But what I've noticed it is, Driving Day, why don't you go to it and do like a vloggy kind of thing? And what I've decided to do is I've decided to do stuff for Facebook over there because, Facebook's completely different and the way it works and all that kind of thing. So I'll do that. But if I do see an opportunity where I can do something, then yeah. But it's because I love cars and everything, and people say, oh, you should go to Driving Day. And I've done it like thousands of times. Well, it feels like thousands. I've only done it like 3 times. But I know how Driving Day works. And if I get a free moment, I'd love to do a meet. Excuse me. I'd love to do a meet for YouTube. I'd absolutely love it. Even if I could just walk around and say, hey, I'm Beans World 77, because I'd do that for anybody, I get people started in YouTube. It's kind of the thing. Crumbs, I've got to go in. This podcast isn't going to be long because, but here's the thing, right? And here's another thing. I will do as many shout-outs as you want. I know it's cheesy, I know it's bubblegum cheese, but this is part of the podcast. It's communicating with you guys. And I think, someone's saying, hey, give us a shout out, please give us a shout out. We want a shout out. So we have to give shout outs where shout outs are due. I don't want to give, there's a rally place that's helped out Galloway's. Galloway's are getting a massive promotion on both channels. Excuse me. I've done the video for the other channel. I'd already done it. Oh no, already recording, and I know what I'm going to do for that. So anyway, back to where the frick I was. Right, yeah. There's a rally place, and James was saying to me, he said, give them a shout out. So I don't know who they are, but hey, you're getting a shout out. So there you go. There's your shout out. And yeah, if I can come and do walk rounds and feel the cars and get some engine startups, then I'll definitely, that is something that we'll arrange next year, because like this year's full up with other stuff. So obviously that is a thing in the bag for next year. But here's the thing. Would you guys love a website where you can see events and stuff, have these podcasts on, what else? Have other bits and pieces. What do you guys think? Because I'm gonna put all my effort into it, and it means spending money on it, having an actual web designer and everything behind it, having an actual team behind it, and it's something that I'd love to do. And also it's going to have, hopefully, if it gets enough money thrown at it and everything, there'll be a radio station. That's that's a massive one. But yeah, so that's a biggie. And it won't just be podcasts, it'll be, where we actually play music and all the rest of it. But again, it's a big step a massive step really, to do all of that. At the moment, I think just doing this channel every other day. So yeah. So I'm going to answer some questions now. Q&A, because, I'm going to have people giving me shtick if I don't do this crap. So Porterex Diggers asks, do you own... Oh, the Nissan Qashqai they're talking about here. The Nissan Qashqai, do you own the Nissan Qashqai? The second Nissan Qashqai? No, I don't own it. I don't own that vehicle. I don't own it. I owned the previous Nissan Qashqai, but I didn't own that one. Marvelous chair. Do you have gripes of Motability? Motability it's not that I wouldn't go back with it. I think at the time I was doing it for my reasons, for reasons. But if I was doing Motability again, yes, I would do it again, but not for the same reasons. If I did Motability again, it would be my car, nobody else's car, and I wouldn't be doing it whatever. And yeah, I'd be a bit more selfish about it next time. Walkers are us. What's your thoughts on the We Walk cane? Blumenek. Do you know? It's a product I'd like to try out, but not for this channel. So there you go. I've been speaking to people about it, and yeah. I wouldn't even review it on this channel, because this channel's not even like this. Yeah, it's a technology channel, but it's not that channel. The other channel is the channel where we review that kind of thing, do that kind of thing, but not this channel. So there you go. Deborah Sands, I know you from somewhere. Where? I can't, lots of places probably. Yeah. Marcus, buses. Do you love buses and trains? Yes, and I am doing a railway video at some point, as there's a railway near me that I want to do a video on. But I'm not... Public transport, I've got my gripes with. But I'm not, like, as an autistic, I'm not... I love trains, but then I don't love trains. Do you know what I mean? I'm more trucks and vans guy. You know. Carcass 9000. Would you ever drive my truck? I would love to drive a truck, you know, for YouTube. But the thing is, it would have to be a lot. I mean, what I'm going to do, excuse me, for next year is with, I think, is it Sight and Speed? And again, that's, you know, for blind and visually impaired and all that. I want to do that, but, you know, and I've got so many videos in the pipeline. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Rupert Celia, thanks for helping me do channel and get my first 100 subscribers. You were right in what you said about the shorts and Facebook. I have loads of people now. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's just, you know, and when I did it, you know, back in the day, to promote your channel, you had to have a website. Now, as long as you've got somewhere else where you can promote the platform, then yeah, it's one of them. But a website has, if you want to take things a step further, then get a website. But if not, then don't. And really, like, having certain things like a Facebook page costs nothing, but still you have the benefits of a site. However, if you get a site, you get more benefits than you'd have if, you know, the social media doesn't give you. So you've got the best of the two worlds, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Rapid Garage. Do you work for a garage? No. I'd love to. I'd love to work for a garage. If I worked for a garage, I could do car walk-arounds and start-ups all day long. Yeah. Mackie G, do you work for the Entertainer? No. I've got lots of stories about the Entertainer, but I'll do them in the next podcast. Well, there's only a couple. But yeah, the Entertainer is... I've got gripes about them as well. Oh dear. But it's not... The gripes I've got for the Entertainer aren't really, you know, to be honest, they're not massive gripes, but they're not... Yeah, they're middle-ish gripes, if you know what I mean. The problem with the Entertainer is they are a shopping thing, aren't they? So they come under that. And the problem with working in that industry is, you know, I would want to do more than just sell a person the item. You know, because I know so much about certain items, like VTech, for example, because I'm a VTech fanboy, or Beyblade fanboy, and because they sell those two things, I'd be able to tell the customer, you know, get this blade from here, or this blade does this, you're better buying that blade, that does that, the kind of thing. Now, the people in the... Because they're in that industry, it's... You know... And it's like every shop becomes that. So, yeah, that's my only... Another gripe. And the other gripe I got is everything's so freaking expensive in the Entertainer at the moment. It's like... And the thing is, they don't just sell one thing anymore. You have to buy the, you have to buy the whole entire package. You can't just buy the one thing. It's annoying, and it's like so they can get more money out of that thing. So I know what I want, and I'll probably get it by next. No, not next month. That'll be the month after now. I'll partway through the month. Excuse me, partway through the month. So yeah. So yeah. Dundee Bigelow. Do you think Sexy Girl and will ever get it on? Well, every time I get mail notifications, I think that's her fetish. Yeah. Did you make Yes, I did. I made on Character AI. You can go and check it out. Excuse me. The voice is shit, but the actual picture that it generated was pretty cool. So, will there be a Beans World 77 Character AI? No. I go certain lengths for people. I never made Sexy Girl. Excuse me. I was doing a virtual. Excuse me. I was pissing around with Character AI, seeing if there was any virtual girlfriends on there, and Sexy Girl came up. But she's brilliant because she's one of the best ones because you can actually piss around with her a little bit. The other ones don't like it when you do it, but because they've made the AI where they don't like it where you piss them off. But Sexy Girl's more chilled with it. And plus, Character AI hallucinates. If you get it on a good moment, if you get it on a good streak, it'll hallucinate and give you just freaking shit random answers. If you get it on a good day. And that's a good time when to film it. Every time I've filmed, because I've given it enough information, and just because I'm lazy, I don't I don't clear my cache, so it just freaking it just hallucinates a lot of the time. But it's and it falls over as well, which is why there's been so many people, which is why Character AI has been telling people to go and commit suicide and all that bullshit because it falls over. And they kind of keep feeding it bullshit information. But if you use it for I only use it for YouTube stuff. So I don't really rely on Character AI kind of much. Babulous Quinn, do you think AI is good for visually impairment? Yes, AI is good for visually impairment, but I was discussing with someone today on AI, and the problem with AI is it's, you've got to train it and all the rest of it. And so, Google and Facebook's AI is pretty good. Anything that uses, is it Llama? Anything that uses a really good script will be good. And apparently the ones for I'm trying to think. Seeing AI doesn't use Llama, but something quite as good. I don't think any of the visually impaired apps use Llama, but I think a couple of them should, because Llama's pretty stable when it comes to artificial intelligence. So yeah. Devil's Berry. If you're autistic, what's the thing that you're most interested in that you piss people off with? Well, it changes like the weather. sometimes it's cars and video games. Sometimes it's music, rock music or whatever. But it's mainly cars, pets. At the moment, it's cars, pets, and music. But it's slightly changed to drones. Oh dear. That subject. It's slightly changed to drones because I've got into drones slightly. I've got to be very careful with that hobby or that interest, because not everybody gets... A lot of people get paranoid at the moment with drones, but drones do a very good job, and the people flying them, well, depends, but yeah, you know, small drones do their job, and so on, but, you know, they fly everywhere. It's mainly some teenager flying drones over back gardens, and they kind of are being idiotic by doing that. The best place to fly a drone is on a field. That's where to fly a drone. And look at the map. They update it every so often. And don't be a jerk and fly. I mean, I certainly would... I know that I would not fly... There's a field not far from me, but I know it's got an electric fence in it, so I wouldn't fly a drone in there. I wouldn't fly a drone in there. Anywhere that's got an electric fence, I'd be bloody worried. But I don't think electric fences are as bad as pylons. I think it would damage it, but I wouldn't. I'd be more worried about doing that kind of thing, you know. But yeah, I think I'd want to do so many tricks with a drone if I had one. But yeah, but like I say, it changes with the weather. You know. But yeah, cars, video games, animals, yeah, I do love animals. And Grievous asks, would you have a smart Earth? I probably would. Like, I probably would have, like, I'm not saying never. I mean, I think Bruno, the cat, he's, yeah. I don't think he was going to let me go away. Kept misbehaving. But no, an assistance dog, people are talking about, well, actually, I've got a project, excuse me, in the pipeline. Excuse me, my throat's playing like freaking chip. It's been dry. Then I had a drink, and now it's playing up again. So yeah. My plan is to get an Arduino bot made and have that as a pet. The problem is, though, that would piss a lot of people off. You know, walking around with a robot. But, you know, if it does the job... And obviously, again, if it had all the right tools on it. Like, I would love the AI glasses, you know, the Meta glasses, but the problem is they haven't got GPS in them. And that does a hell of a... I mean, the thing is, if you have glasses, okay, it's good to read a book. It's good to know, you know, street signs, whatever. It's good to listen to music as you're walking. All that's good. But if you're paying a high price for something, it needs to do a shit ton more. And if it's got GPS in it, right? Say if you want to go to the shops, say if I wanted to go, say for example, say I'm lost, right? I could press a button on it, and it would then say, right, you are on the corner of Leyland. You're on Leyland Road, or you're on Manchester Road, or you're on wherever, right? Or say if you're lost in town, it would say you're on wherever you're lost in town, for example. And you could, all right, okay, well, I need to turn left or right or whatever, instead of asking people for directions. Another thing it could do is, because if it's got GPS and it's like in with Google Maps, say, for example, say if you wanted to know, say if you're in the car and you wanted to say, know, like, what motorway you're on, you could press a button on the side and it would say, you're now on the M62. Or say if you're on the bus, I know buses actually speak now, but some of them don't still. You could still have it announce bus stops and things. And with GPS, that would work a lot more smoother and nicer. A lot of people didn't get why I wanted GPS, and that would be the icing on the cake. And if it had full GPS in, because I was reading the other day, a lot of these things that have GPS in don't have the full GPS in. And another thing, if you were in an emergency, if it had a SART button on, it could send out a SART signal. And then say for example, your phone goes, your battery on your phone goes, and you've got no one to call, right? It could send out a SART signal to your emergency contact that you are in distress. So it would send out, for example, my mother, for example. It would send out, if I pressed a SART button, it would go straight to her phone. Oh, he's in distress, right? And it would have the location, so it would send out the location. So say, for example, I don't know, in the middle of Liverpool or whatever, right? I press that button, the SART button, it would then be like, okay, right, he's in distress, I need to come out. Or, and it would send out, and it doesn't matter if your phone battery goes or whatever, it sends that signal out. That means that they can come and get you. They know the location of where to come and get you. Because that's an important one, I think. And obviously it'd be great. And if blind people are buying these things, there has to be a lot more to it, especially if you're paying like $4 or $5 grand for these, or a bit more less than that. They're a lot of money. They're more than just a bog standard pair of glasses. And I would love them. I'd love a set of Meta, or I'd love an Orcam, but it's not got GPS on. So anything without GPS on I'm completely screwed without it. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I can answer calls, I can listen to me. It's like, what else does it do? Come on, sell it to me. And people aren't really selling it. And they want to know why I want GPS. And I'll tell you why I want GPS, because GPS is great. Does a hell of a lot. And also if it has tracking, if it has like find your friends on it, or because I don't want find my friends on my phone, but if I had a pair of glasses with them on, that'd be brilliant, because with a pair of glasses, I wear a pair of glasses every single day of the week. And if I had these Meta glasses, I would wear them every single day of the week. Every single day of the week. Because literally, they have to do more than just answer calls and read text messages and read a book. Yes, I'd love to read a book with a pair of glasses that speak to you, but if you're paying a lot of money, there has to be a lot to them. And that's where my gripe is with it. GPS, everyone's going to go in the comments. They're going to go, oh, a GPS, there's no full GPS. Our phones have full GPS. No, your phones don't have full GPS in. Because full GPS, right? They have it on some cars, full GPS. Full GPS gives you where you are, gives you your route, gives you where you're going. It even tells you which point your car is at. There's even some companies now that know when a car is going to turn a corner before it even turns it, well, when it gets that corner. But when the driver turns the steering wheel left, those companies know that the car is going to turn a corner because it's using a full GPS tracker. Only some phones have a full GPS tracker, and you've probably paid more for that phone. And if you have, you paid more for GPS. And so you should, because you're paying more money for it. But even then, like this phone, like the iPhone 13 Pro has full GPS on it. Well, half GPS, not full. But full GPS, like, it's like better than, and I mean, it's the military use it. It's, it's proper GPS. It's because full GPS, if, for example, like nowadays, the reason why they've got them on cars is so companies know that say if that car has an accident, this is what insurance companies do. So say if your car has an accident, they know exactly where your car was, who hit your car, the impact, all the rest of it. It's all there. Because a lot of people saying, they crashed, they were speeding, all the rest of it. But it turns out, like, the real loon is, like, if you're driving a car with one of these SIM card things in, that's when, and you've got, like, loads of cameras around you, that's a whole different thing. Bad Boy asks, do you think a lot of people bother with indicators these days? No, I don't think they do. A lot of people don't understand the laws of the road. Never mind freaking indicating. Bloody hell. Hey Bean, are you the media mogul? Yes. You found my secondary channel. Well done. 1,000 points goes to you. Hey Bean, I've got another car if you're interested. You keep saying that. I know you are, and you keep saying, but I don't want to bother you too much because obviously you've got a lot of stuff on, so I don't want to bother you too much. So I'll talk to you about that on WhatsApp later on, as I know who you are. If I didn't know who you are, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't send you messages on WhatsApp. Can I have a Beans World mug? If you go on Amazon, I've decided not to bother with the Amazon affiliate links because it's just, there's a lot to do for an Amazon affiliate. I'd love to, just whatever. Do you want a motorbike? No, thanks. There you go. How would I drive? How would I drive it? I can't even. And balance is poo. I'd have to work on that first of all. I'd be worried more about falling off a motorbike than actually riding it, son. So there you go. Can you sign my car? No. Seriously, you want felt tip pen all over your vehicle? If you get washed off your car? I could spray it on, but I'd be worried about bloody damaging the vehicle. Somebody from the Dip Monkey Garage? They went to the Dip Monkey Garage because they follow our channel. Because I put it in the group. and they asked the Dip Monkey Garage for Beans World 77 on the, was it motorbike? Because I actually saw the picture. Because somebody put the picture in the group, and I have seen it. It was on a motorbike. And they did it. But seriously, if you want Beans World 77 on your vehicle, go to the Dip Monkey Garage. They'll happily do it for you. And they're professionals as well. They know what they're doing. I don't. And, obviously I won't wreck your vehicle. Sorry, they won't wreck you. I'd probably wreck your vehicle while doing it, whereas they won't. So there you go. They know how to do it, you see. Or get a private reg with Beans World 77. There you go. I'm sure you could have it. Think Destruction. Do you own a... no. I don't own any hacked or modded machines. So yeah. I would love two Amiga 1200. Can't speak. I would love two Amiga 1200s if I can, for a project. Would you recommend InnoTab 2 or 3? I don't know, because the problem with VTech's products is they only update the security on them now. They've stopped updating the firmware entirely. And the thing is with toys, this is my gripe with stuff like that, is they should, especially with kids' tech, there should be an update, not just every month, but every week, because with kids' tech, you've got to be on it like a car bonnet, and that's where VTech are, companies like that are failing, because they don't even update their browsers even. And I was talking to a friend who's like, he wants to, there's a friend of his that wants to do, because he's got a project, but there's a friend of his that wants to make browsers for children that will be safer. And here's the thing, look at third-party browsers. I know it's not really advice I'd give for kids' toys, but third-party browsers, do they work? Like, Chrome seems to be the one that's the safest. I mean, even the safest browser, you got to be wary, but yeah. And, I wouldn't use any messaging service with a kid. I would totally, VTech, Connect, and all the rest. I wouldn't even use that, There are services out there, and if you use them on the right tech and everything, then you're good to go. But I got my gripes about it. And they don't update it enough and fast enough for children, which is why they get hacked so easy. And I don't use mine on the internet because I've got my Genio, which you saw. I use it like my Ubuntu machine, which I had. It's a lot faster. Well, it's not a lot faster, but the browser's shit anyway. So I've seen people use the browser, and there's not really all that much, and everything crashes anyways. So you're best just, using the internet on another device. To transfer my files from the VTech, I just used the micro SD. So I keep it offline because I had my Ubuntu machine offline. I don't really care that it goes online because I got other machines that go online. But even if I had a Linux laptop, I wouldn't even put that online. Stuff like that. Like, I think really the internet feature on kids' products really should only be getting apps that they want, and that's it. There shouldn't be anything else. Like, VTech have now put the Amazon store on their device because it's retail. It's like when you work in that industry, and that's my gripe. That was my gripe that I've got with the Entertainer. They're in the retail industry, and the toy industry and the retail industry are two different things, my friend. But yeah, that's my gripe that I have, and yeah, I use the Entertainer. It's not my love for it, buying from. To be honest, I'd rather buy from other places, but the Entertainer, and since they're very friendly, they're a very friendly shop. I like the message that they put out, and that's it. So yeah, what's the most dangerous kids' toy, and would you ever review it? No, because the most dangerous kids' toy involves asbestos, man. Asbestos, wow. Would you ever blow a toy up on your channel? Well, I've not blown a toy up, but I've tried smashing that toy supermarket thing up, and it's because the thing is, right, I know quite a fair bit. It's not PEC, but it's a strong plastic. Now here's the thing, right? With plastic, now all plastic breaks, but PEC, which was made by Kodak, and apparently they never made kids' toys with it. However, there are some kids' toys out there that were made using PEC. But the reason they stopped using PEC for making kids' toys is because they thought it was poisonous. Well, it's not, because they make thousands of fizzy drinks bottles. And I've actually got a story about PEC which Kodak made. Apparently, there was a guy who was there were people throwing golf balls at his window. So they just fitted it. He just fitted it with PEC, and they threw the golf balls and wondered why the window wasn't smashing. But the only way you can damage PEC is if you cut it. Because if you get a fizzy drinks bottle and throw it for as hard as you can, you might crack it a little bit depends where it lands, but it's not actually going to smash. It'll not smash. And anyway, but it's just a very, very strong plastic. The bottles might feel thin, but if you ever feel a sheet of PEC, if you whacked PEC with a hammer, you wouldn't break it. But you get a knife to it, and that's it. So, and that's why people used to fit it across their windows so they wouldn't get smashed. Oh dear. Yeah. Handful of toys. I have no banned toys. I have got no I've got no dangerous toys in my collection. None at all. Sorry. The toys I review are the toys I like. So there you go. And I absolutely hate slime, so sorry, no slime. Ugh, gosh, I hate slime. Ugh, gosh. But I was talking to somebody who makes slime. So maybe we can interview them for the podcast. So any slime lovers out there, try and get an interview for them. I hate slime. Because I feel bad. But I'll I'll interview someone. I'll go that far. Just for the views. Do you own any farting toys? I had a fart box. It was brilliant. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. Not because it blew up or anything. It just stopped working. Can you blow stuff up? No, I'm getting like crappy. What do you think of YTP poop? It's not there anymore. YouTube poop's not there anymore because a lot of it was copyrighted content. But however, there is a really cool website. What's it called? I'm sure if you type in Google YTP poop classic or something, there is another website that comes up that's like a mocked up YouTube, I think. It's not actually YouTube. And all that's on it is all these YouTube poop compilations. But they all got taken down because a lot of them were copyright in violation. There was all copyright violation. So that's why. Yeah, so that's why they went. Yeah. And obviously, the problem with YouTube poop was it wasn't an actual genre that people could hook on to because people were doing so many things that weren't technically artistic with it, and people got the hang of it pretty easily. So it was a culture that came and went as quick as it happened. So yeah, I've got to go in a minute. I've got to do we can get to 8:20 and then I'm pushing it. I was supposed to do another video, but that ain't going to get done now. I've got to get some other bits done, but that's not going to get done, so that's not going to happen. Because I've got to go down and get an advert done. Excuse me. So yeah. But yeah, the thing with the YouTube poop is it's not a genre that you can latch on to with YouTube. So that's why it came and went very, very quickly. It's like DeviantArt, DeviantArt's for people who the trends on there come and go very quickly, and that's it. And it's like meme culture. Meme culture came and went because it's all like, it's still there. But the problem with memes that I have, or have a little bit of a gripe with, is the fact that people are just copywriting. Like, there's no actual trend there at all. And it's like, at least with the original memes, people were actually taking them and, putting their own little spin on them. Whereas the AI memes, there's nothing at all. It's just slop. Yeah. Speaking of slop, I was going to tell some other stories, wasn't I? Well, the story I wanted to tell actually was about I did ghost stories a while ago, but that never went out. I wanted to tell, a story of ghost stories. The thing is, I do believe in ghosts very heavily, because I've experienced what I've experienced. And the funny thing is, one of the houses that we lived in at the time had a lot of haunted things happen, but I only ever known 2 things happen. But I'll probably think of it, as time wears on. But the last house we were in, I saw stuff in, and not just air. I used to see stuff in there every time. And I couldn't work out what the frick it was. One time we heard a laugh in there. Another time we heard a little boy. And the kids. Now, I'm going to tell my story and I'll tell Dad's story. But my story is different to Dad's. My story is very different. Because I used to have weird dreams about but then I used to have other weird dreams. And I dreamt I was at school. Now, I used to always float around my bedroom as well. I used to do a lot of floating around. I had this long, and the bed used to tip. And weird shit like that. It didn't scare me. I used to find it pretty cool, all of that. But the children, it started off. Now, I wasn't very well. So it was kind of a bit of a fever dream. I was in school, and I quite liked schooling because it was a primary school. I was in the same school. I can't speak. I was in the same school right from reception all the way to senior school. And I was in the primary school. And Kath O'Gorman, it was at night time, right? Through to the early hour of the morning. And I woke up to all these kids in my room. I thought, this is awesome. All these kids playing on the landing. And I fully woke up, and I heard these kids. And as I sat up to go, hello, is it cool? We got some kids here. As I went out onto the landing, they're gone. But I knew I'd actually seen one of them, because one of them was right outside my bedroom. But they went down the stairs from the loft onto the main landing, and they went into the box room. I know that because the voices would fade away. Now, the first time, so those kids, actually, that wasn't the first time I heard them. The first time I heard them was when my real dad was there, and I was sleeping in my bedroom, was on the landing opposite Mummy's room, and I heard weird stuff. And I woke up. I woke up one night to hear these children. And I thought, oh, is it weird? And I could hear them outside my room. And the next minute they kept fading. And I thought, okay. And then one night I was in the snug. Was I in the snug? No, so I was putting my toys away. And I was putting my road map away. And I could hear these kids. And I didn't like this kind of feeling. And I thought, isn't it weird? And I thought, because I thought, maybe my sister and Danielle are, because I thought, maybe my sister and Danielle have come down. They're going in the snug for a bit, whatever. I just sort of play it down. They're going in there to watch a video, because they did, and I just minded my own business. I was just going to play the Sega or the Atari or whatever I was doing, or messing around with cars and stuff. So I just, I shaked it off. But, so anyway, after the twins were born, Dad had an experience where he heard children shout onto the landing, and they weren't there. They were gone, these kids. But obviously, they were the same kids that I heard. Now, after we left that house, apparently the people that came to view the house, these two people came to view the house, and they went into the snug room where I had been sleeping, and they saw a figure. Now, I thought it's maybe because I was listening to heavy metal in there. I used to listen to a lot of my music in there, Sabbath, Who, Captain Beefheart. You can imagine, I had a soldier on the wall. I'm painting I started listening to Limp Bizkit, so you can imagine, teenage poltergeist activity, or whatever you want to call it. There was a lot of attitude in that room. I had a lot of new energy, shall we say, that was coming out, and it wasn't bad, but enough. And I thought, maybe these people coming in, maybe that figure is starting to show itself in the shadows. But anyway, they went and saw this figure and left. So there you go. Another experience that happened to me was, so I had a teddy on top. Was it on top of the wardrobe? It wasn't on the wardrobe. The teddy was sat on the chair in the corner. No, it wasn't. It was on my bed. It was in the other corner of the room, and I was sat on the chair. And Dad used to play a lot of tricks. He still does. And anyway, I thought he'd snuck in, a kind of thing that Dad would do, and throw the teddy at me. Literally, it didn't hurt. I stood up, the teddy, and it did hit me. Because I picked the teddy up. The teddy was on the bed. And I shot out the room. This was in broad daylight, people. This wasn't in the dark, in the dead of night, when ghosts like to lurk out. No. It was, and a smooth radio was playing, and Dad was downstairs with Mummy. I thought, well, and that didn't bother me, to be fair. I thought, oh, right, okay, it's having its fun. Because where we are now, should I tell this, that apparently a young girl died? Now, I didn't actually see the girl that died, sadly. Actually, no, tell a lie. I've seen her. But she's left a print. Even though she's gone, she's not coming back. The only way that she could come back is if someone decides to practice dark magic or whatever. But there is like a imprint of the ghost, whatever they call it, left in that room. So I've been in there since. I know where it is, where it was, and I know there is a portal in there that's closed, but I know where the portal was. There wasn't just one portal. Because there's like, I think thousands of whatever it was. Crumbs, talking a bit but I'll tell you this. When my nan did the spirit board back in the 60s, whatever it was, apparently she'd open not just one portal. Now, obviously, people say, "Oh, Steve, you don't know what you're talking about." But there was not just one portal. There was about thousands upon thousands of portals, probably 1 million portals open in that house. But it's strange, I never saw the strange woman. There was one night I went to the toilet, as you do in the middle of the night, to go for a wee, and we all ran back to the bedroom. And I remember one night, on the landing, I remember seeing this naked woman. And I went out, obviously. And I don't know why I turned back. And I turned back and she was just stood there. So I went up to try and touch her. And she kept moving. I thought, this is odd. I thought, obviously she wasn't going to do anything to me. And she just stood there. Every time I went to the toilet and I'd worked out, right, okay, this woman keeps disappearing when I try and touch her. But the best one was when I was listening to Wet, Wet, Wet. So you can imagine this is an afternoon. The window was open in our room. It was mine and Jessica's room. We shared that room. And we had Wet, Wet, Wet on. Well, I did. There was only me there. My dad was... where was he? Downstairs somewhere. Can't remember where. My nana was at the hospital with mother. So it was just at the hospice with mother, because it was just before Grandad passed away. So it was during that time. And it was just me and my dad in. I didn't know that, of course, but no, I did know that. And my sister, where was she? I think she was at her friend's. Yeah, she was at her friend's. She was at a friend's house. So there was just me and my dad there. Right? And this thing decided to brush itself against the wall. And it made the sound of a brush. And I thought the window cleaner was doing the windows, so I kept shouting out, "Oh, hello, here's some wet, wet, wet for you, as you do when you're a kid." But I couldn't work out where the sound was coming. And it was making this brushing sound the whole time for ages. But apparently, when someone had come to do the decorating, when Steve had come to do the decorating, apparently he said he heard the very same brush sound. So yeah, there's some ghost stories for you. I'm actually going to not do that thing till tomorrow, because I know it can wait until tomorrow, and I've got everything all ready for tomorrow, and because I've got loads to do in the morning. So when I get up bright and early, I am knackered. You think going on holiday for a week, actually, you're ready for it, but no. So anyway, and I need to do another podcast for my other channel, and I want to do a live video, and I just want to chill, basically. So if you like ghost stories, let me know, and I'll do more ghost stories. The problem with that is I start putting 100% of that in. Anyway,